Hey everyone, welcome. If you're looking to truly understand the engine that drives modern corporate strategy, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking the absolutely fascinating world of management consulting. We're going to look at how it actually creates value, how it's evolved over the last century, and how artificial intelligence is literally rewriting its entire future. Okay, let's dive into this explainer. But before we get into the heavy lifting, let's test your assumptions right out of the gate with a quick pop quiz. So, what do you think is the absolute primary role of a management consultant? Is it, to run a company's daily operations or maybe to sell products? Take a second and lock in your answer. All right, if you guessed that they provide objective analysis, offer specialized expertise, and utilize structured problem solving, you absolutely nailed it. And this really sets the stage for everything we're about to cover. Because, see, consultants don't exist to manage day-to-day operations or push a specific product inventory. No, their primary role is to bring external capabilities, completely unbiased insights, and highly structured thinking to the table. Basically, helping organizations solve those massive, complex problems they simply can't crack on their own. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we are using a structured framework to explain a highly structured industry. Today, we'll cover what management consulting actually is, trace a century of its evolution, look at 4 distinct ways consultants add value, examine the crucial role of objective analysis, and finally, explore that AI-driven future. All right, Section 1. What is management consulting? Let's peel back the broadest layer of the onion here. At its core, management consulting is all about providing external expertise to help organizations solve complex problems, improve their overall performance, and make really critical, high-stakes decisions. Consultants are so incredibly valuable precisely because they provide the specific capabilities, the specialized knowledge, and the strategic support that clients simply lack internally. In short, they fill the capability gap. Moving on to Section 2, a century of evolution, we really need to step back in time for a minute to understand exactly how this profession built its toolkit. The consulting industry, it didn't just appear overnight. It's got a pretty rich timeline, starting way back in the early 1900s. Think of Frederick Taylor and his whole concept of scientific management. That era was heavily focused on process standardization and just sheer operational efficiency. Then, as we move into the mid-20th century, we start seeing the rise of legacy firms like McKinsey and BCG. This era was all about formalizing strategic planning and creating these organizational frameworks that could actually be replicated across different businesses. Finally, from the 1990s all the way to the present day, we see a massive shift. The focus moves sharply toward tech-driven transformation, relying heavily on data analytics, digital solutions, and, of course, increasingly AI. Now, speaking of that mid-20th century strategy boom, let's keep things interactive, right? Time for another pop quiz. Which specific consulting firm is famously known for creating the 7S framework? Let's see if you know your consulting history. And the answer is McKinsey & Company. They developed the 7S framework right during that critical mid-century era. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates how the formal frameworks established decades ago still serve as the foundational bedrock for how modern consultants approach organizational alignment today. It's really cool when you think about it. Okay, Section 3, 4 ways consultants add value. Let's move to this next part and see how this all builds from history to the exact mechanics of value creation. So consultants essentially create value for their clients in 4 distinct ways. First, through objective analysis. Second, by bringing specialized expertise built from deep experience across multiple industries. Third, through structured problem solving, using those exact methodologies we were just talking about to tackle business challenges systematically. And fourth, through execution support. This means actually helping the client implement the solutions, manage the resulting change, and measure the final impact. It's really the unique combination of these 4 pillars that effectively moves the needle on client performance. That brings us to Section 4, the role of objective analysis. We're going to deep dive into the first, and honestly, arguably the most crucial of those 4 pillars. So, what does objective analysis actually mean in practice? Well, it means providing an unbiased external perspective on an organization's challenges, which then results in evidence-based recommendations. This is absolutely vital because, clients often suffer from organizational blind spots. They are just way too close to the problem. By remaining completely objective, consultants help clients discover realities and insights that they simply cannot see from inside their own echo chamber. But achieving this objectivity isn't just about having a fresh set of eyes. It requires a really rigorous four-step methodology. Step 1, you actively challenge the existing assumptions within the client organization. Step 2, you develop original hypotheses about what is actually causing the underlying problem. Step 3, you collect and analyze empirical data to rigorously test those hypotheses. And Step 4, you deliver recommendations based strictly on that hard evidence. This systematic approach, this rigor, is exactly what separates, just educated guessing from true professional management consulting. All right, Section 5, the AI-driven future. Now we shift the narrative forward and ask, how is technology, like AI, automation, and the cloud, completely shaking up these traditional frameworks? When comparing the old methods with the new AI-augmented capabilities, the constraints of the past literally just vanish. We're moving from slower manual research to incredibly fast data analysis, allowing consultants to generate insights rapidly from absolutely massive data sets. We also move from tedious, routine reporting to the total automation of repetitive tasks. And here's the thing, this doesn't eliminate the consultant. Actually, scratch that. It empowers them. It frees them up to focus entirely on higher-level, complex strategic work that machines just can't replicate. So the crucial point is that consultants act as a bridge between emerging technologies and business value. Think about it. Technology alone doesn't solve a business problem. It needs to be directed, it needs to be interpreted, and it needs to be applied correctly. That translation layer, that is the modern consultant's primary role. Moving forward, consulting engagements are going to be defined by enhanced decision support driven by incredibly precise data. We're going to see this model of hybrid human-AI collaboration, where consultants work directly alongside AI co-pilots, perfectly combining human judgment with machine capability. Furthermore, there will be a massively increased focus on responsible AI use, ethics, and data governance just to maintain trust. Because, while AI drastically changes the speed and the tools, human expertise remains absolutely essential for interpreting those outputs and managing the very real, often messy, human dynamics of organizational change. Which brings us to the end of our explainer, and I want to leave you with this provocative thought. As we look at this rapid evolution, from Frederick Taylor's clipboards all the way to AI co-pilots processing millions of data points a second, the mechanics of consulting are changing forever. So if AI can process the data and even build the strategic frameworks, what unique human value, what unmatched judgment will you bring to the table in a tech-driven world? Thanks so much for joining me today, and I challenge you to keep questioning the frameworks around you.